Live from Gettysburg, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the August 9th, 2024 edition. And I don't know what to do. I am so used to throwing something to start one of these shows, but I have nothing to throw. I'm not in the Ram Cave. I got no music. I got no, it's hot out there. Let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. I just got me. And I hope that's enough for the next couple weeks, guys, because I am in Gettysburg, PA, and it's great. I'm dodging tornadoes and experiencing a lot of hard rain, but it's fun because I'm here to talk RamView on this Friday night. Hey, this is brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word. KistlerLawFirm.com. They've been fighting for you since 92. And of course, by Temple City Auto Repair, having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, by Outsiders Ministries, a place where your life can change. Okay, opening. I am in Gettysburg. It's a fun place to be. It's interesting just to be in this weird hotel room doing it, but I'm in Gettysburg because I love U.S. history. I'm kind of a Civil War buff and everything. But I think the appeal of football to me has always been the strategy to it. I mean, of course, when you look at something like the Civil War, there's a lot of strategy there. When I think of basketball, there is some strategy, but there's so many variables to the game that's centered around where the shot is taken and how it comes off the rim. You know, a bad bounce off the rim can ignite a fast break, right? In baseball, you can cheer, root, make all the noise you want. But a fraction of an inch is the difference between a home run and a pop-up. But in football, you can impose your will, and you can out-scheme a team, a talented team with a less talented team, right? You can run the double wing, right? And I've seen an overly talented team beat by teams that know how to run the double wing to perfection. It's about out-scheming, right? It's strategy. You know, up until Gettysburg, Lee's undermanned army had outmaneuvered the Army of the Potomac, right? They schemed their ways to some great victories over a larger, better equipped army, at least until Lee abandoned the run game here in Gettysburg and went to the air. And what I mean by that, instead of playing a defensive strategy, he went on the offensive and he lost his advantage. And that's what I love about football. Football, you as Darrell Royal said, you dance with the one that brung you. But I just love the strategy, and I see the crossover between football and military strategy all the time. And I do believe it is one of the things that draws me in. I can't see you if you click on, so I'm not ignoring you. I'm not expecting a lot of questions tonight because, what is it, 3:50 back in SoCal? But let's look at some Rams stuff. The unofficial depth chart was released by the Rams, and we'll just take it for what it's worth. And I was just stunned by some of the comments because I'm out here in the Eastern time zone, and I'm searching for anything, right? Because my hotel room is a great room, but it doesn't have all the best channels. But I heard people talking about Zach Evans, and the truth is, you know, being buried on the depth chart, you know, Zach Evans started walking the green mile when the 83rd pick of this year's draft was announced, right? As soon as you heard Blake Corum's name, you knew Zach Evans was walking the mile, right? And it's not big news that he's buried deeper than the Angels in the American League West, right? So speaking of being buried, I think it might have been a premature burial for Logan Bruss, right? He had the catastrophic knee injury in 2022, had a nice not a nice recovery. He had to recover, still playing in the NFL in 2023, although he hasn't taken a snap. And now it makes sense. You know, they talked about moving him to tackle, but how do you move a guy that's had a really serious knee injury to tackle? I just didn't get it. I'm glad he's back at guard. And it's interesting that he's listed as the backup right guard to left guard to Jonah Jackson right now. And there was a reason the Rams drafted him. And I think Logan Bruss right now, second on the depth chart. That's really interesting that he could have a chance to make some noise for this team. Speaking of making noise for the team so far, the word that I'm hearing, I haven't seen it, of course, is that Joshua Carty is struggling, the kicker out of Stanford. And I'm just giving fair warning that if he ends up getting cut or he ends up not making it in the NFL or he ends up going Sam Sloman on us, we all have to own this if he flops, right? So I can hear people blaming Les Snead already, right? Because that's the knee-jerk reaction. But everything in Rams Central Rams media, the Rams ether. Everyone wanted them to draft Cardi. So we all own Joshua Cardi if he flops. One guy I don't think will flop is Cam Kitchens. It's only a matter of time. John Johnson is listed as the starting safety, but John Johnson makes everything feel okay, but it's not 2020. I like John Johnson a lot, but Kitchens, if Kitchens is starting by midseason, I don't think it'll be that much of a reach. Another name interestingly placed on the depth chart was Brennan Jackson. Some folks here are calling him Carnage Jackson. And he's looking like he's really bad news right now for Ochaun Mathis. Nick Hampton seems to be holding his place. And of course, the Rams drafted Jared Verse and everything like that. But Brennan Jackson is making life difficult for Ochaun Mathis. And I can see Ochaun going through the waiver wire and going someplace else or winding up on the practice squad this year. And then there's Tutu. We talked about that last week. Tutu Atwell, starving for anything out here in Pennsylvania. I was searching around and I found a Rams podcast. And the Rams podcast must not have had enough to talk about because they had to come down on Atwell again. And, I made mention last week that Van Jefferson was drafted in the same round, in the same exact spot, 57th overall, than Atwell the year before. And Van Jefferson was dealt midseason last year. The Rams had a chance to keep Jefferson or Atwell, and they dealt Jefferson. And now The Athletic is reporting, I think it was Jordan Rodriguez, reported that teams were interested in Atwell at the deadline last year. And I thought he was a bust, right? Why would NFL teams be interested in a Smurf, small receiver if he isn't any good? But teams were interested, And now, for what it's worth, right, Atwell, as you look at this depth chart, Atwell is listed as the key return man in both punt and kick returns. And again, I think everyone will gain some sort of satisfaction the day Atwell goes. But what I'm hoping is Atwell, I want to see Atwell succeed and find a role for him. Better hands than Tavon Austin. No one else has his speed on this roster. But I'm going to laugh when they start lamenting when Atwell goes someplace else next year as a free agent. I am a Tutu Atwell believer. I can't say fan, but I am a believer. But let's look at this guy. In 2021, the Rams were a Super Bowl team. They had Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, later OBJ. Atwell got hurt. He wasn't going to play on that team. In 2022, the Rams had no offensive line. They played four quarterbacks. Two quarterbacks and two guys that put on a quarterback's uniform, Stafford and Mayfield, but they also had John Wolford and Perkins. And yet that season, in limited playing time and limited opportunity, Atwell made plays. Last year, he caught 39 passes for 483 yards, 3 touchdowns in the regular season. He had the touchdown catch in the playoffs, but you could add another 4 catches, 115 yards on pass interference penalties that he drew. Yeah. Do you remember all the pass interference penalties that Atwell drew because he gets behind the defense and they tear him down? Again, final word here. This guy is not a bust. I saw the Caleb Williams interview. I think it was with, was it Kay Adams, the former NFL Network lady? And I'm going to sneeze. Not cry, sneeze. And Caleb Williams said his top 2 quarterbacks are Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford. And CJ Stroud, earlier this summer said Matthew Stafford was his guy. I thought it was kind of funny. 2 young quarterbacks keep praising Matthew Stafford. And yet the NFL players, NFL writers, no one can seem to find room for Stafford. Yet keep rating Cousins, Tua, Dak, all those guys ahead of Stafford. And, go ahead, keep having your man crush on Joe Burrow and everybody else. There's only 2 quarterbacks ahead of Matthew Stafford as far as I'm concerned. One is Josh Allen because of his youth, and the other is Patrick Mahomes because he's Patrick Mahomes. And if you're watching the video and you're hearing all the stuff come out, speaking of good, for goodness sakes, Verse and Fisk, right? Verse and Fisk. How can you not be optimistic about Jared Verse and Braden Fisk? That just, Fisk got poked in the eye, I know, but these guys, they just look awesome out there. And this is really, really exciting. If the Rams hit home runs on both these guys, first round pick, a second round pick, they should be hits, but there's hits and there's home runs. If they hit home runs on both these guys, and then you couple them right now with the conductor, Kobe Turner, and then of course Byron Young, this Rams defense in 1 year is going to go from okay to elite. And then I love all the stuff, the little rumors of Aaron Donald maybe feeling kind of antsy. That's kind of exciting. And so this team could be pretty special on the defensive end. A good running game, and then exceptional on the defensive side that bodes well for the Rams. I'm not going to really worry about the offensive line stuff. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break, but we'll get into that. This team looks really good. Around the NFL and other places, Nick Foles retired, former Ram quarterback. We had the pleasure of seeing him, released by the Rams by a phone call in the 2016 Hard Knocks. And then just came on before I got on the air. The Patriots released Juju Smith-Schuster, and it's amazing how fast it ends for these guys. Remember Juju Smith-Schuster and Sam Darnold connecting in the Rose Bowl for USC against Penn State, and that great comeback that USC had a few years ago. And it just seemed like the world belonged to Juju Smith-Schuster, and now you're getting released by the Patriots. That's a bummer, right? And I don't know what Juju Smith is thinking right now, but in some ways, if he wants to spin it in a real good way, he should be grateful he's been released by the Patriots. I think they've whiffed on their coaching hire, and we're going to see how that team turns out. Falcons put former Cardinal receiver Purdue product Rondale Moore on the IR. Cowboys put CeeDee Lamb on the did not report list, and that brought up a question: would I pay CeeDee Lamb what he's after? I think he's a little bit better than Brandon Ayuk, but you know what? I think I can find another CeeDee Lamb. I'm just not in a mood to pay receivers, right? I think you can find another CeeDee Lamb. I think he's good. But do you think CeeDee Lamb is better than Dez in his prime? I don't think he's better than Dez in his prime, and I don't think I'd pay him. I'd figure out my quarterback situation a lot sooner than I would a receiver. What's the point of signing him if, one, you don't believe in Dak, and then two, if you're going to let Dak walk, do you really want to be paying the monster salary to CeeDee Lamb? I just wouldn't do it. I might, if I still believe in Micah Parsons, give him that money, use the rest of it to go after some real talent. Talent in the right places. 49ers have signed Robbie Anderson, Chosen Anderson, which is interesting considering the Brandon Ayuk situation. They've released tight end Logan Thomas, which was really interesting. And I'll go on record again. I said the Rams should have signed him at the beginning of the free agent period, and 49ers got him instead. And good for them, and bad for Logan Thomas. He just got released. They put Drake Jackson, the USC guy, defensive end, on the PUP list. Patellar tendon, that surgery from last year. His season's over already. Drake Jackson is gone for the year. And Christian McCaffrey has a calf strain. That is interesting, right? The guy's been healthy for 2 full years. Is he going to have a third healthy year? And he's got a calf strain. Working around other stuff, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams are still issues for the 49ers. I heard Ayuk's requesting 26 rocks. The 49ers are offering 23 rocks. I did, on the road, driving out here to the east, hear Colin Cowherd's pitch, and it was a smart one. It makes perfect sense. Take less money, stay with the winner. $3 million, $5 million, but stay with the winner and keep yourself in the spotlight as opposed to going someplace else. And he used Devontae Adams as an example of going to the Raiders. And I hope Ayuk ignores it. I hope he wants the big bucks and stuff. And I hope the 49ers give him the big bucks. But again, you can replace Brandon Ayuk. The guy you can't replace, especially this season or at any time probably in your Super Bowl window, is more problematic. I think they're going to pay him, but it's Trent Williams, right? Trent Williams is number 1 tackle in football. He's 34, 35, 36 years old right now. And he's under contract this season and the next 2 years, 2024, 2025, 2026. And he's making 10.7 rocks this season because it was part of the deal he signed in 2021. And he signed a 6-year deal prior to 2021. So he's not been underpaid. Next year, he is scheduled to make 34 rocks. In 2026, he's scheduled to make 37 rocks, right? He has not been underpaid. But now he wants to make sure he remains the top paid lineman in football. And again, I think it's just, dude, is your eye on the prize here? Do you understand the box your team is in with the salary cap? And I think Trent Williams is great, but dude, he's getting paid. I understand Ayuk a little bit, wanting that big contract before his career runs out. I could understand him a little bit more. Trent Williams has made his dough, and he's going to make his dough. And right now it's an ego thing. He doesn't want to be the fifth highest paid or fifth highest paid offensive tackle in football. But he's on the verge. He's still in a window. He's still in a Super Bowl window. I don't get it. And it's just marvelous that it's happened to the 49ers. Again, being on the East Coast, and I'm in a different time zone, and it's raining and there's tornado warnings. I sat through the show Speak on FS1 today. Yamahama, talk about Fright Night. That is the most low IQ sports show that I could ever watch. I mean, it was just awful. I just couldn't believe. Yeah, it's amazing. Don't ever doubt your opinions. Don't ever doubt your opinions, because not all people on TV and in this business have the right opinion. Ignore them because they're not very bright. Reminds me of that line, that line. To paraphrase that line from Planes, Trains, he says, I can go to any insurance seminar and sit there for a days with a big smile on my face. And people would say, how can you stand it? And I'd say, I watched an episode of Speak on FS1. I can take anything. And you know what they'd say? They'd say, oh yeah, Joy Taylor and her friends. I know what you mean. Whoa, what a bad show. I'm Joe Terosian. I was a sports writer for 21 years, and now I get to do RamView thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law. And, of course, my books, they're on Amazon, and you guys have been supporting us. We really appreciate that. It all allows me to stay connected to my day job, which is I pastor a small church in Burbank Faith Nazarene, and you can find us right here on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual, as well as burbankfaithvirtual.com, Burbank Faith Virtual on Facebook and all across social media. If you have any questions about that stuff, let me know, and we'll get in touch. So thank you so much for staying connected with me. I'm on vacation right now, and I'm kind of having a good time today. Wow, I got dudes on the air. I did not think I'd have anybody. Forgive me for getting to you guys kind of slow. JD Durham, thank you for clicking on. I appreciate that. Manuel Vasquez, Kitchens and Curl will make an excellent tandem in the secondary. I do. I believe that. I believe Kitchens probably just needs a little seasoning, needs to see how JJ does it, and then do it better because he has more athleticism. Rob Sorge, Steeler fan Rob in Missouri, whose house I stayed at on the way out here. Thank you, Steeler fan Rob. I was going to do a show from his place, but there was just too much of a Steeler mojo in that house. I didn't want it to infect the Rams. Steeler fan Rob is saying Juju going back to the Steelers. Okay. Are you going to cut Van Jefferson to keep him? JD Durham, yeah, Niners got problems. They do got problems. JD Durham, if he wanted money, he could be in New England with Milton. There you go. Six, JD Durham. He is the sixth highest paid. I just saw that and I missed that. Thank you. Rob Sorge, a Steeler fan, Rob in Missouri, go Steelers. JD Durham, will the last 8 games against division rivals and the Ravens and Chiefs is going to be really tough on the Steelers. Yep, that's it. The 49ers have a tough schedule in the back half too. I think they do down the stretch, 2 of their last 3. But guys, thank you so much. I was not expecting any people watching me right now, but thank you so much. And thank you, because it is kind of an abbreviated show today. So the Rams, I was on the road. The Rams had signed offensive lineman Alec Lindstrom, the Boston College UDFA. Connor McDermott, the veteran 6th-round pick by the Patriots out of UCLA. He's kind of on his last legs. He's been a spot starter here and there, but he is a pro. And Matt Caskey, guy that's been bouncing around. I think he appeared in 1 game for the Panthers in 2020. He's a UDFA out of Dartmouth, but he runs about 6'7", 320. And the Rams have signed those guys to offset their offensive line woes because KT Levinston and even Warren McClendon went down with injuries. Although I think it was the Cowboy workout, I did see McClendon at right tackle. Did we not see McClendon at right tackle? I thought we did. And Joseph Noteboom was at left tackle. And I think I spotted Zachary Thomas, which caused a little acid reflux to come up. But those guys are depth pieces. I do not think any of them. Well, if everyone's healthy, I don't think they're going to be on the roster come September. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think these are camp bodies right now while the Rams are dealing with these tweaked ankles. The Rams released UDFA's tight end Neil Johnson and safety Kenny Logan. Logan surprised me a little bit. The room is so full right now. The Rams probably did Logan a favor. But I heard good things about Logan when the Rams signed him. And Neil Johnson, this is the great thing about Neil Johnson. Not great, but it's a bummer, is how fast it ends, right? 1 minute Juju Smith-Schuster is this hot prospect, and now he's being released by the Patriots. and his career seems up to date, how fast it ends. Neil Johnson, when the Rams signed him, he got to model some of the throwback uni stuff. Remember, there were pictures of a Ram in those throwback unis during the offseason or earlier in the late spring or early summer, and it was Neil Johnson. It's like, how exciting! Because I'm a Ram, I'm modeling the stuff. And now they've pink slipped him, and he's bouncing around. It's just, football's a brutal sport, but I think it's a great lesson teacher about life, right? Okay, let's look on this day in Rams history, August 9th, 1952. John Cappelletti was born. John Cappelletti, Heisman Trophy winner out of Penn State. In fact, I'm in his home state right now. And Cappelletti was 6'1", 215 while he was with, I think, at Penn State. I think he was about 220, 225 with the Rams. Consummate fullback, played for the Rams from 74 through 78. I remember the newspaper because I really didn't learn. There wasn't much sports talk on the radio back in 74, and we had to wait till the newspaper came out the next day. And I remember in the 74 draft, the Rams had just come off a season where McCutcheon ran for 1,097 yards and Bertelsen ran for 854. And the Rams seemed really set. They had Les Josephson, they had Larry Smith. They had guys in their backfield. They had touchdown Tony Baker as a short yardage guy. And I remember the headline at the Times, there was a sub deckhead. It said Rams could start a track team, because the Rams got Cappelletti with the 11th overall pick in 74. They passed on, future Hall of Famer Randy Gradishar. They passed on Lynn Swann, who was drafted later. And then in the second round, Dave Casper and Jack Lambert were taken back-to-back. I always thought Dave Casper was a little overrated, but the Rams took and you think about that, what were the Rams going to do with Jack Lambert? They had Jack Reynolds, right? What were they going to do with Lynn Swann at that time? No one really knew. In fact, his first year with the Steelers, he was mostly a punt returner. And Gradishar, right? They had Jack Reynolds. They had a full slate of linebackers. So they took Cappelletti. He had 5 seasons with the Rams, solid starter for 3 of those seasons, twice rushed for over 600 yards. In 78, he caught 41 passes, 105 games in his Ram career. But it was in that 78 season, I think it was in week 14, the Rams playing the Steelers in a Monday night game, or was it a Sunday night special? Was it a Sunday night special? I'll take correction on that. And the Rams beat the Steelers, but he suffered a growing injury that was so bad that he wasn't expected to play, and he got back on the field, and he re-aggravated it the following summer in 79, and he was done. He missed all of the 79 season. And he didn't play for the Rams again. In fact, later on, the Rams traded him to the Chargers for a second-round pick in 1982. Think about that. He missed all of 79. He was a full-load fullback for the Rams for 3 seasons, played 5 years before that. So his body was banged up. I think he dealt with some separated shoulder issues, different things. Kept messing up Cappelletti. And yet the Rams got a second-round pick for him when they dealt him. That was a 1982 pick, and they packaged that pick with 3 others to move up in that 82 draft for Barry Redden. Now you're thinking, Joe, what does that have to do with anything for John Cappelletti's birthday? Well, we want to share what Cappelletti did for us. Cappelletti was traded to the Charger for a second-round pick. The Rams used that second-round pick along with 3 others to move up in the 82 draft, and they took Barry Redden. Redden didn't light the world on fire, but he wasn't bad. He was competent. And then, of course, it was over for him when the Rams drafted new coach, new GM, new all that stuff in 83 when they took Eric Dickerson. So he hung around with the Rams, had some starts at fullback for the Rams. He made some contributions, Barry Redden did. But in 87, the Rams flipped Barry Redden to the Chargers, the team where his draft pick originally came from, right? And the draft pick to grab him originally came from. They got Buford McGee, who was not a bad back, had a couple of nice years for those Ram teams in 89 and 90 and stuff. Really liked Buford McGee. But they also got a second-round pick in the 1988 draft. And that second-round pick that was courtesy of Barry Redden, that came courtesy of moving John Cappelletti to the Chargers, was a wide receiver named Flipper Anderson. Yeah, pretty cool stuff there. Throwing it else out there. What else we got here? Born on this day in 1952 as well was Bill Bain. Bill Bain was born. Remember Ram offensive lineman Bill Bain? Played at USC. Was on those outstanding USC teams with McKay and Robinson. Actually, with McKay, and he was drafted second round, 47th overall by the Packers. Big dude, never panned out for him. Flamed out in Green Bay, Denver, Giants, Redskins. And then he ended up spending 7 years with the Rams and really did some great work for the Rams. But happy birthday to Bill Bain. Also, happy birthday to former Ram quarterback Chris Miller. If you remember, Chris Miller was the Oregon quarterback, played for the Falcons, had some really nice years there. He was a 13th overall pick by the Falcons in 87 out of Oregon, 6'2", 212, good arm. But by the time he got to the Rams, he was shell-shocked from all of his concussions. And he went 9-14. There was some bad Ram teams there. He quarterbacked the team the first year in St. Louis, 34 touchdowns, 29 interceptions. And then he retired for 3 seasons, but someone talked him into coming back, and he played 3 games in 99 with the Broncos. This guy suffered 5 concussions in 14 months before he stopped playing. And then he came back with Denver and got a 6th concussion, and that finally convinced him that it was over. And Chris Miller turns 59 today. And on this day, we mentioned him when the Rams drafted John Cappelletti. They had a full complement of backs in 74. Coming out of the 73 season, McCutcheon, Bertelsen, Lester Josephson, Larry Smith, touchdown Tony Baker, and Rob Scribner. But on this day in 1998, touchdown Tony Baker, short yardage specialist, who scored 15 touchdowns in 2 seasons. 12 touchdowns with the Rams in 2 seasons. He was killed in a car accident. Yeah. Tony Baker was from Iowa State, UDFA, 5'11", 228. He actually made a Pro Bowl, I think, with the Eagles in 69. And yeah, 2 seasons with the Rams, rushed for 344 yards and 7 touchdowns in 73, 135 yards and 5 touchdowns in 74. Yeah, nice player, 34 catches, and he died in a car accident after leaving a high school reunion in 1998. Yeah, so wanted to throw that out there. And I think that's it. I think I got it all in. Outstanding. I feel like I did my job 26 minutes in. Let's see what else we got here. A couple of questions. JD Durham. All right. Willie Bowen, I can't wait to see the Rams play. Horns up. Yeah. You know, my big thing right now is I'm trying to find a sports bar somewhere in Adams County where I can watch the Rams play on Sunday. And so looking forward to that. Thank you so much. Yes, I share a birthday with John Cappelletti and Bill Bain. Although I'm younger, I think I'm in probably better physical condition than they are right now. But yeah, thank you, Tim Burns. Today is my birthday. JD Durham, UCLA. I think you're talking about Connor McDermott. I think so. Manny Correa, what's up? Yes, there we go. Tim Burns, your hated Cowgirls are on Sunday. Hate preseason. Hey, you know what? Since I'm mentioning now, you brought up that it's my birthday. My first Ram game was the Times charity game in 1974. And I don't know if it was exactly played on my birthday, but yeah, my first game, Rams lost 13-6 to the Cowboys thanks to Les Strayhorn. I think I've shared that story. That was the Cullen Bryant story where he tracked down Strayhorn from all the way across the opposite side of the field, and he tracked him down and tackled him. And it wasn't long after there that the Rams decided to make him a running back and such. So let's see here. JD Durham, you got a Dolphins thing there. Are you a Dolphin fan, JD Durham? A Tua fan? Robert Sorge, Houston 3 and out. Fields moving the ball. Okay, great. It's Rob Sorge, Steeler fan. Rob, always loving the Steelers. I can't find the game here. I'm in Pennsylvania and I can't find the game. Maybe because I'm too close to Philly. Let's see. Oh, JD Durham, you mentioned Anderson was from UCLA. Absolutely, he was from UCLA. And that was funny that you bring that up. I know Stroud is starting, Steeler fan Rob, for the Texans, but JD Durham, back to you. Interesting. If you saw, you know, I lived in SoCal. I saw those Terry Donahue teams that played really well in the mid 80s, all those you know, New Year's Day games they played. I think 3 Rose Bowls, 1 Fiesta Bowl, and Steve Bono beat Miami in that Fiesta Bowl. And then, of course, Matt Stevens rocked Iowa in that game. And we saw Flipper Anderson play, right? We saw Flipper Anderson play with UCLA. Did you think Flipper Anderson would have been that good in the NFL? I didn't. I didn't think he'd be that good in that. I thought he would just be another Dokie Williams, another JoJo Townsend, just another guy that was good, but wasn't going to be great. And Flipper Anderson had some great years there for the Rams, till the Rams decided they, wanted to move to St. Louis and destroyed the team. Tim Burns, talking trash, DFA, TJ Watt, Rod Sorge, no Watt, no Hayward. You can't play Watt or Hayward in the preseason. You can't do that. And Sorge, I think you should be grateful to Sean McVay for bringing that into the NFL. Willie Bowen, Blake Corum, will he be credited zone goal line specialist? I hope so, right? That dude has a nose for the end zone, Willie. Absolutely. I agree with you on that. I hope he will be. Okay, guys, I'm going to go one more minute here. If you have any more questions, throw them at me. I don't have any music to close out to, so I feel real naked here, but thank you guys for clicking on, especially when there's a football game on that you get to watch. I'm going to the Dobbins house, and my brother is buying me dinner, and I plan on ordering the most expensive thing on the menu, which I'm really excited about that. I think they got some Maryland crab soup there, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, guys, thank you for clicking on. I'm Joe Terozzi, and this was RamView in a weird situation from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I am going to try to stick in another show. Today is Friday. I'm going to try to come on Monday and do it from here. It's awkward. I don't feel in rhythm, but we'll make it work. I thank you guys for joining us, and hit like, subscribe, share, and we will see you soon. And hopefully I have stuff to talk about on Monday if I find that Ram game. If not, maybe I can find it on YouTube. All right, guys, God bless. Take care. Willie Bowen, JD Durham, Steeler fan Rob in Missouri, Manny Correa, Willie, all you guys, thank you so much for clicking on. Take care. I will talk to you soon.